This is Chit Chat That with John and Stefan.
We're just going to go ahead and... That's it?
I think so.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy.
We'll cut that out and start after.
Or we'll
Obviously.
we could just replay it over and over for an hour. Oh, there's 150 calories in this can of Dr. Pepper.
You know, Mountain Dew only has 170 per can.
That's more than 150.
So, 46 grams of sugar. Which is a lot of sugar, you know?
Yeah, because this only has 40. Oh, man. This is amazing.
Well,
A burp in every
I
gulp.
doubt anybody's going to make it through this part. There's like, I give up. I give up.
No, it's amazing. You know you love it, and everyone should, because it's a natural process of life.
So farts, but I don't think most people are like cool with that.
Depends on how close they are.
You know, I'll never enjoy my wife's farts.
I didn't say you have to enjoy it.
You know, plus another thing about starting after all the burps are done is we already started talking about farts. I mean, you can't only get one through one podcast.
And just get through it. Well, we just have to get straight to it.
Straight to it.
That way we have the rest of the time to actually talk about serious matters. What's the matter?
Just the burps are crazy, and you probably only have taken like 2 swallows.
I've taken plenty of swallows. It's just
Gross.
Gross.
So anyways, one thing I was thinking of as we were talking about what soda to bring down is the best soda that's out there.
What is the best
This would
soda?
be a cool thing to pull and like get a bracket going to see.
I'm going to throw it on Twitter right now. All you listeners, look for it. Although it might be over by the time you listen to this, but we're still going to want you to go over there and check it out.
However, the hard thing is if you were to limit it down to 4, I mean, that's...
For what?
4 different choices to put on a Twitter poll. I mean, you'd have to do several.
Well, I mean, you got
polls.
because you got your basics. You got root beer, Sprite, or 7-Up, but those are pretty much the same. So root
Pepsi,
beer,
Mountain Dew, Coke, Diet Coke.
Mountain Dew, Coke.
Because I have a strange
I don't know about
feeling.
diet. You really
Diet
want to throw
Coke
diet
would probably
in there?
win.
People say
And that's
they
the only
hate
reason
the
I
flavor of that one.
would
though.
do. Dude, Diet Coke is so popular.
Is it because it says diet or because it actually tastes good?
I think people like the taste of it.
I've always heard people say they don't because it doesn't taste like the regular.
Especially here in Utah, I swear, like, every overweight family likes Diet Coke.
I feel it's rumbling in my tumbly. Oh, boy.
Well, this would be easy to sell. You just say, like, top selling. So, do you say sodas, pops, Coca-Colas?
Cola. No, I can't say
A
cola.
liter of cola?
A cola. I can't call everything a cola. I looked this up. Did you know Dr. Pepper is its own thing?
Soft drinks? Yeah.
I didn't realize Dr. Pepper was its own thing.
It has its 23 flavors. I know. I used to think it was like a cola.
Yeah, like part
way
of
back, yeah.
Pepsi or... Oh, my. Oh.
No way. Just for all our listeners out this, I don't condone this at all.
Oh, but it feels better out than in.
Yeah,
I
so
always say.
I would say my favorite was probably Dr. Pepper for a long, long time.
My mom used to drink that all the time. I remember the first time I tasted it. Do you ever see that gas station has that weird crest symbol or whatever? Nope. Anyway,
No.
I remember it on the little the cups I had, and I remember drinking it for the first time, and I never had it again after that because it wasn't too long after my mom stopped drinking soda, and I never saw it for a long, long time. And then a doctor told my wife to drink like a caffeinated drink to help with a UTI. I don't know if that really helped, but anyway, so we got a Dr. Pepper, and I tasted it again. It was amazing. And now I'm drinking it right now. And it's pretty good.
So Dr. Pepper used to be my favorite, but I quit drinking pop for like 5+ years, and I just started it again because I just don't care anymore. And I don't care if I die young anymore. Just let it be.
It's all.
I'm just gonna.
It's all the same.
Die a big fat blob.
An hour later.
But lately, I've been really into Mountain Dew. But it'd be hard to pick like the best.
I probably shouldn't be drinking
soft
this.
drink of any time.
My teeth have been feeling funny lately, and I don't think soda is good for your teeth.
So you know a way to get around that?
What?
See how I have this metal straw in my fake Yeti cup. I think it's Simply Modern that you get on Amazon.
A fake Yeti?
So it's like the fake ones.
It's a fake
And
straw?
I'll be honest, like as far as keeping water and stuff cold, it's just as good as the Yeti. But the lids and the mouth holes are far less than any Yeti cup.
Far less as in like...
It sucks.
Oh.
So my wife has a Yeti, and her mouth hole on her lid, you can actually like get water out of. This one you have to really suck. So I bought these little straws to go in them. Jeez. This is horrible.
One more time.
I couldn't tell if that was a real laugh or if that was a fake one.
I'm trying not to find this funny because it's gross. All you kids stay in school.
Okay. There's at least some positive stuff coming up.
That's right. We're trying to.
I keep getting sidetracked.
Yes.
But,
The Yeti.
but yeah, so I had to get these straws, and I had her cup, and it has like this little plastic thing that covers the hole when you don't want it to, and you can open it up. You drink it at a good rate coming into your mouth. I feel like this lid just stinks, and like it's already hard to pull off and put on the lid because the little ring that makes it like spill proof is already falling off. So if anybody wants to know, as far as keeping things cold, it'll do the trick. But if you're drinking a lot, and so you're constantly opening it up and shutting it, putting more water in or whatever you put it into it, I'd probably just go with the Yeti. I think it'd be worth the extra dollars.
What brand was this one?
We're not sponsored by Yeti. This is just me and my own.
This is just a typical product review, you know. And what brand is that one?
Simply Modern.
Simply
Modern. I think
Modern.
on the thing it says S, and then it has like
so
a
and it
dash
has
N.
the Utes on it.
Yeah, so you can get them in, and you can get them in any college.
Okay,
like,
so
affiliation, and they'll put it on.
It's just your what's at most college swag places,
like Fans. This one's just on Amazon.
Oh.
So I'll tell you what, I'm pretty Amazon burnt out.
You know what? I kind of hit that a little while ago when I had to get rid of Prime.
But I hardly even use my Prime.
Right,
I feel like I can get all that I want out of Amazon and not have to have Prime.
Yeah, that's
because I can still like buy movies because I like streaming movies from Amazon. But you don't need Prime to do that.
No, because you're buying them, it doesn't
movies,
matter.
like they're garbage anyways.
Yeah, well, that's like most places. I don't think anyone really has anything really amazing.
Like Netflix used to, but I think once they lose Disney, like they're done for.
Oh, is it just a temporary contract?
And I think they've already talked about they've given a date of when they're going to stop.
Oh, that's going to really suck for them.
Movies. Well, because we talked about this in another podcast, but they bought Fox, and Fox had like a pretty big share of Hulu, and Disney already did. So I was like, I bet they get rid of it. And I was talking to somebody the other day. None of these are real sources. The whole buying them, that was real sources. But as far as them having their contracts, I was talking to my uncle. He's usually pretty reliable. He said he heard they were already pulling the plug.
Ooh, and I wouldn't be surprised. Hey, maybe they'll get Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Maybe. But that's on Fox, and Fox and Hulu are partnered.
Oh, I thought who bought Fox, you said?
Disney.
Oh, Disney bought Fox.
Yeah.
And Fox is on Hulu.
So
chances are Disney's going to Hulu.
I would invest in Hulu right now.
Because Disney's got it and they'll put money behind it.
Sell Netflix. But I think Netflix, what they have going for them is their original content.
Yeah, because they still have Stranger Things and a few other...
Yeah. Though they have quite a few.
Yeah, they've got quite a
They
few
do a lot of
series.
comedy specials, which I like to watch on Netflix.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
one thing that will be a bummer, they have some of their originals are like Marvel based. So I wonder if they will lose that too when Disney stops letting them, because they have like
I don't know.
Jessica Jones, The Punisher.
Yeah.
They
Flash. What else did they have? Was that
had
pretty
Luke
much
Cage, and they had
Was that Fist one too? What was
the
that?
Iron Fist.
Yeah, is that Marvel? I thought that was a Marvel.
Marvel.
It was like a one that I've never really heard of, but they're doing it.
I swear there's another one that I'm forgetting.
It probably is. I keep thinking Arrow, but that's DC, so that don't have to worry about that.
And to be honest, I haven't watched any of the
And so
TV
it's
show.
DC.
The only like superhero TV show that I've watched, like that's been recent, is The Punisher.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it any good?
It's
It's
okay.
all right. I mean, The Punisher, every time they've tried to do it, it always ends up a bust. Like, I
'Cause-
haven't seen a good one yet.
It's like Deadpool. You can't do it without it being R, I don't think. Just with the whole, like, because he's pretty violent. in
Yeah,
that.
he's like a no remorse kind of guy.
Yeah, and so it's hard to try to make it into a TV
Some
show
kind of
for
kid show,
everybody
or
and stuff
not kid
like
show,
that.
but family. Here's all your superhero buddies.
Because I think you could do it if you were like really good and you put a lot of effort into it. But I feel like they don't put a lot of effort into a lot of these
I
things.
think they
coming
put.
out.
Well, I think
I
they
think
put all
most
their,
of it's like to make money and not like the art and to make something really good.
right, and that's the thing. I think they focus so much on the fact that, like you said, he's just a brutal, vigilante kind of guy,
Mm-hmm.
and they put so much focus on that. It's like, why don't you actually like develop this character? Make people actually think, oh, he's kind of cool, instead of just, oh yeah, it's another one of those guys that goes around killing people that are bad.
They did it in kind of a way where they like showed his soft side, like he was hanging out with kids and he was kind of like being a father figure since they didn't have one. But
It's kind of hard with that kind of a character to be,
Yeah.
such polar opposites. I don't know. See, because Batman, I mean, they were able to pull that off with the Christopher Nolan trilogy.
I just want to say one thing. I wish there'd have been more Christopher Nolan Batman. And I realize you got to stop while you're ahead and not sink down. But man, that guy did good work.
It was amazing.
Like, Heath Ledger, I think, was the first like comic movie that won an Oscar.
Oh, that's true. That was what he got it for, huh?
Yeah. And I was just looking at these lists and they're talking about like the trilogy and some of the things about it. And it just, every time I hear anything about it, I'm like, oh, that was so good. Why can't they do that? Why can't they do more of that?
Yeah, they put that together so well.
Because I'll be honest, the new Batman, I'm not a big fan of. Like, I'm going to watch them just because it's Batman. But
Are they making a new one?
they have the Zack Snyder.
Oh, you're
That
talking
did
about
Watchmen and 300.
Oh, is he actually going
So he
to?
does Batman, Batman versus Superman, Justice League, and all those.
Have they done a Batman yet, or are they just planning it?
I think they're planning on doing a Batman solo, but they had Batman versus Superman.
Yeah,
Which is-
I wasn't a fan of that because it was they threw it in.
It was
Too
a weird
fast.
way to start off.
Yeah,
Kind of how, like, if you would have started off with, like, Iron Man versus Captain America and then the Civil War to start off with, that wouldn't have worked.
well, especially to introduce like Tony Stark or Iron Man, or I mean, or Captain America. Tony Stark and Iron Man, same. But yeah, if you're like trying to introduce Iron Man in a Captain America movie or something, that would just be dumb when they're already enemies or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't
So,
work.
like, you build them up, and you can kind of see how they diverged.
Yeah.
But they still have that, like, mutual respect. They just disagree. I don't know. Marvel does it so much better.
Yeah, well, they took the time. I think any time they try and play
DC
catch up,
was
they
maybe-
just start tripping up
yeah.
over their own feet.
The whole
Where it's
catch-up
like,
thing.
oh, we've got to get all of our heroes out there. It's like, why don't you just slow down, take time to actually write a good story for each one of your characters, and then bring them all together like Marvel did.
But like, or we can do it now. We can have that $500 million sooner rather than later.
Well, it's like,
Maybe.
well, that's the
I don't know.
thing, because I
But I
bet you
feel
there
like
was
if
some
you do it
statistic
right-
with that.
If you do it right, I think, I don't know. I probably don't know because there's probably a reason why they do it that way. But like Christopher Nolan's versions. I mean, those made a lot of money.
Yeah, but if
Like,
you
I know
look
Dark Knight surpassed $1 billion.
Okay. Yes, it did.
Watch, I'm gonna burp too.
Oh,
Did you hear that? No. Who'd have guessed? Just kidding.
some people just know how to burp. Anyway, no, but that first one, Batman Begins. To be honest, when that first came out, I was not interested in it at all, because the last one I had last one I had seen was Batman Forever, and I hated it. I was like, that was just stupid. And then they had Batman and Robin or whatever, like Mr. Freeze with Arnold Schwarzenegger and stuff.
I'm gonna freeze.
Yeah, with all the stupid puns. Yeah, nobody liked any of those. So by the time Batman Begins came out, I actually was not interested. It went through theaters. It went to like rental stores, and there was one time I was looking. I was like, I'll rent it. What the heck? And so I rented it, and I was like, dang, this is actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize because. It was actually a coworker at the time was like, you should watch that. It's really good. I'm like, really? I'm like, I've just been so disappointed with Batman. I just don't even want to look at anything else anyone's doing. And he's like, no, it's actually really good. I'm like, really? I'm like, well, I like Batman. So I was like, fine. It's been a while. I'll just try it. And I was so surprised. I was like, dang, this is a really good movie.
Yeah. Like they took everything that's good from Batman, and they like went on that. Like he's like the detective. He's the vigilante. Like, he's not really necessarily liked by people, which I think is more where the comics go versus like the average person that knows about Batman.
Oh, and I think what really helps Batman is the fact that he had a rule. He had a limit that he gave himself to always like, strive for, not to kill people or whatever, which gave him a lot more interest. Yeah. but it gave, like, think of Punisher and stuff. They have no rules. There's like no real dilemma except for whatever outside sources the villain can get, like their family or friends or whatever. It's like, because in The Dark Knight, one of the biggest struggles for Batman was breaking his one rule. And that's what the Joker was after the whole time. Where it's like, it's one thing to take, external sources and be like, oh, I'm going to threaten your family or your friends and stuff. But it's like, trying to break someone's character it's such a more, traumatic thing when you've got all the stuff that made Batman, where he didn't want to kill people, he didn't like guns because that's what killed his parents, all these things, and then those are the things that the villains actually use against him, trying to make him break, like, you're gonna become one of us kind of thing. So
someday he's just
really
gonna
cool.
accidentally get shot in the jaw.
Oh, yeah, you never know.
That's his Achilles heel.
Yeah,
His Batman jaw.
because that's the one place that's not covered by anything.
Yep. Or he's gonna get shot in the eye, depending on his suit.
Anyway.
Anyways, one thing I like that Marvel does with Thor Ragnarok. Is that how you say it? So the director, I'm a huge fan of. He like does a lot of stuff with Flight of the Conchords. He's from New Zealand, so like his humor, crazy. I really like his humor and stuff. But I think he represents what they do well. So you're going into the movie for like an experience, and so you're like, oh, that was cool, and like the bad guy wins, and like
the
good guy wins, and there's so much action, and I laugh like the whole time. Like they just throw in tons of stuff to get you like to have a good time. Like that's the whole purpose of them, and you can kind of follow the storyline, but they're not like too deep with the story. It's just more to go and be entertained at a high level.
Are you not entertained?
But like the difference that the Dark Knight, it had more of just like it was like an actual drama. Like had it not been Batman, it still would have been like a good movie.
But that fits Batman. That was the interesting thing. Where it was like, and it was the most authentic comic book movie in the sense of, if you were to bring a comic book to real life, like that transition, it's like, I could actually kind of see this happening. Someone with enough money to do all that kind of stuff. But because he has like no superpowers.
But I was just thinking, like Heath Ledger, his Joker, I don't think it could ever be topped.
Oh no, it's
solidified.
It's almost
ruined the Joker.
Yeah, because everything else is like,
You see anything else? I was
Nope.
like, oh no, like that was the perfect villain, and it like made so much sense of why the Joker is a Joker and why he's so good at what he does.
And just crazy.
There's nothing you have against him. Like he's just chaos.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't
he was
beat
like
it.
talking about a dog chasing a tire. He's like, I wouldn't know what to do if I actually caught one.
I just do things.
But they had a clip, and it was Tommy Wiseau. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but the guy that did The Room, and he did like auditions for the Joker.
I saw that too.
And I was like, he actually would make a really good Joker, because
I think his look would work. Sometimes his voice doesn't.
Well, his voice, but like his personality is like the Joker.
A little bit, yeah.
He's like super spontaneous. You never know what to get and
what
like,
he's gonna say or do.
You don't even need to have him like act that much.
No,
like, I know that may sound rude, but like I mean, and like just
when I saw that,
he kind of does random
fit.
stuff. And he's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah,
and then he'll just start breaking out in an evil laugh, and you're like, "Man."
Yeah, he would have to change his voice a little, like Heath Ledger did, to sound more like the Joker did. But other than that, he was, I watched that audition tape. It was actually,
I like
fake
the
audition tape.
highs and lows that Heath Ledger did with the Joker. Like he'd be like goofing off, and then all of a sudden be like, and you'd be like, whoa, this guy's kind of scary.
That was actually the best part about it, was you actually in those moments saw how insane he really was. Mm-hmm. Especially when, in contrast, where he tells Batman, he's like, I'm not a monster or whatever. It's like, you sure sound like it sometimes. My goodness. Yeah, he did and everything about it though. The art design for him, like how grungy he looked.
I heard that was him.
Did he decide a lot of the art design? Because I'm like, that was genius for a lot of that.
I heard he got makeup at like just a local store or something like that, and kind of did his own. And then he like sent it to them, and they were like, all right, yeah, this looks good. And then they just reproduced it every time on set.
Yeah, because it was perfect for that. Like, that was just the best way to do it. I liked how the way they did he did, I don't know, but his makeup, his clothes, his hair were as crazy as he was in a sense, where it's like, it wasn't really neat makeup, wasn't well kept anything. Everything was just very, chaos, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't know. You see the other Jokers, and they're like slick back hair, and they're in the business suits or stuff like that,
and they're
pretty much every movie, or they're the gangster.
Everywhere, yeah.
Like, I don't think that's as cool of a Joker. I like just the crazy Joker. The cartoon Joker, I kind of have a soft spot for that because that's what I grew up watching.
Yeah,
that's like what introduced me to Batman.
Well, and he wasn't too bad. Yeah.
And I think he did a good job. He still had like the crazy stuff.
Well, he had the laugh, which was what I was excited that Heath Ledger did. Because when I heard it announced it was Heath Ledger, I looked him up real quick, and it went through like some kind of overview of the actor. Said his voice was low and raspy and stuff. And I was like, that's not the Joker. But then when I first heard his laugh in the first teaser trailer, I was like, they got it. They nailed it. I was like, that's the laugh. Like, that's the one thing a Joker has to have. And they got it, which was perfect because they got the laugh, and then they also got, the art design that worked perfect for the, the world that Nolan already made. But I was like, they just got to get the laugh. Because if they could nail that, I'm like, I was going to be okay. But then I was like, wow, it was amazing. But yeah, the laugh was one of the biggest things for me, because I'm like, you've got to have the Joker laugh. And he pulled it off. And he also used his raspy voice, which was cool. So he was able to do both.
Sorry, Batman was my favorite. And Joker's probably my favorite villain. I don't know. I really like Venom too.
Oh, yeah.
And they're doing that Venom movie. I have no idea how they're going to do it, because he's the standalone. He's like the villain. I don't know how that's going to work.
Well, I actually don't mind a standalone, but I am just curious what they're going to do with his story. Because, at least the way I've always seen him in cartoons and stuff is, he's what I used to call growing up a neutral character, or anti-hero, I guess is the phrase I use now, where it's like, he hates Spider-Man. He wants to always beat him up and kill him and all that stuff. But there were times they had to team up to fight greater villains than themselves.
Like Carnage?
Yeah. Carnage, and there were some others, but he was like an unlikely ally depending on the situation. Like he was always a thorn in Spider-Man's side, but at the same time, he was also one that would help Spider-Man if he needed to. It's kind of a weird, yeah. Again, anti-hero or a neutral character is what.
Do you know who's doing the movie?
I don't. I just know what's his face is in it.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, and I think he'll do a good job for the character. I'm just really hoping that they nail it with the actual Venom suit character part, because if they screw that up, doesn't matter how good Tom Hardy does.
Oh, man, Tom Hardy's so good.
He is, but he'll nail all the spots
villains.
Where it's just him, and then if they ever put the suit on, I'll just be sad if they don't nail that. I'll be like, dang it, you gotta hit that.
Because Tom Hardy, I first saw him in Inception. I was like, yeah, he was kind of a cool thing. Yeah, he's the dude they found to kind of help him out.
I'm trying to think if that was the first thing I saw him in. I think that was the first one I actually saw him in too.
Then he was like in The Warrior. I think that was probably the second thing that I saw.
I saw that one because I knew he was going to play Bane. And I was like, is he going to be big enough for that? And then when I saw Warrior, I was like, okay, he'll probably be all right.
I feel like he still wasn't big enough for it. Like he's ripped, but he's not like a big guy.
No, I talked with another coworker when I was still
I would still think he'd be under like
The Rock is technically bigger.
Technically, The Rock is huge.
Yeah,
I bet he got a whole foot.
Well, I'm not talking about like tall. But, like, I'm talking about with mass and everything.
He's a big dude.
Yeah.
And I would think. Let me see.
Yeah, because I was like, The Rock would have been bigger, but I think Tom Hardy he's got more acting.
Yeah, I mean, he's really good. I saw him in Peaky Blinders, and he did so good. He was like a Jewish mob boss in England in like the 1920s, but he did a really good job in that. And I also thought he was really good in the Revenant. Have you seen that?
I have not.
That one's really good. That's the one like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, he finally got his Oscar.
Yeah, and
he had to kill himself practically.
Yeah,
to get it.
I was trying to think of other spots where people get like seriously injured when doing.
Oh, did he get seriously injured?
Well, I think he got injured with like Jim Caviezel when he did Passion of the Christ. Like he dislocated his arm. I think they got electrocuted.
Jim Caviezel?
Yeah, he's the guy that's on Count of Monte Cristo.
Cristo?
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 I think it's just Cristo.
Cristo? What did I say? Crisco?
Crisco. Like,
yeah, the Count of... He's just the heir of Crisco brand lard. And it's a story about him.
Making pie crust. Lard and pie crust go together really well. Anyway, continue.
I can't find.
But he was in the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yep, he's the main guy, the guy that goes to prison and then
comes
back and he's the Count. That's Jim Caviezel.
Ah, that show was so depressing to me.
Caviezel.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
but that show was depressing.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he gets out and gets his revenge, I was still so depressed that whole movie.
I remember when he got out. I'm like, he could have had his wife, but he's like, no, I got to take this further. And I was like, you've won, dude. You've won. But he wanted to, like, bring the other guy down a lot. I think that's kind of cool in a way because you don't want, like, the perfect good guy. I like it when the good guys are good enough that you like them, but they're not perfect. I would say Superman is a lame hero. He's too strong. Well, yeah, and he has a stupid weakness.
Yeah.
Just instead of pepper spray, you have kryptonite spray, and there you go.
And he's out.
He can't attack you.
Yeah.
You blow your whistle, and you're like, don't go, I have kryptonite spray. And then you spray him, and he has to go away.
Good old Superman.
Let me see if I can look at the poster to see who does or who's doing Venom.
It's Tom Hardy.
I mean, like, the production.
It's Sony.
Sony, okay. I haven't heard much from Sony. Sony,
They've done stuff, but it's been a lot more indie kind of stuff.
Okay.
They've kind of went on the poop shoot.
To be honest, I can't think of many movies that haven't been Disney that have been hits.
Dang, I can't think of anything right now. At least lately.
I want a free market. I want everyone to compete and being like, oh, this year Paramount had something really awesome. And then,
well, I think they have, haven't they? There has to be something. I guess nothing I've bought. Because I really
like
liked...
a blockbuster. I mean, everyone's going to have like the good movies that come out.
Well, I've seen some blockbusters that have been made. They just haven't made it big.
Yeah.
They're blockbusters in the sense of budget.
And you think about like the big money making thing that's like Star Wars and the Marvel Avengers.
Lately.
That's kind of it.
Dang it. I even pre-bought my tickets to Infinity War. Oh, I'm falling into the Disney trap.
Like, I'm okay. Like, I actually think Disney does a good job.
Well, so I don't mind them. They've got a formula now that everyone likes.
Yeah, and so I'm going to be enjoying every movie that they come out with.
I've been watching Series of Unfortunate Events, but that's a Netflix original.
I haven't seen or read any of those.
I haven't read them. I've watched the first movie with Jim Carrey, and I didn't like it. And then we started the first few episodes. I wasn't too into it, but my wife kept watching, and then I finally just kind of got into it after you get past the first few episodes. I mean, the first few episodes aren't bad. I just was trying to get the bad taste of the Jim Carrey one out of my mind because it just didn't work out so well.
Did you ever watch the Pacific Rim, the new one that came out?
I haven't. Did you?
No.
Oh.
I want to, but I don't know if it's...
I want to, but I haven't seen the first one. But it doesn't sound like the second one really elaborates much.
I remember seeing commercials being like, well, that looks stupid. And then it was on FX, and I was just kind of watching. I was like, I couldn't stop watching it, and I had other stuff to do, but I wasn't doing it because I wanted to keep watching it. And I had like Charlie Day. I like him, and he was in it, so
well, there you go.
It was kind of getting me intrigued. And then like I watched probably the second half of it. I don't know if I watched beginning to end. I think I've seen parts of the first half and then the second half, but it was actually really good.
And I've heard a lot of good things about it, surprisingly. Like even my brother-in-law was like, oh.
Yeah, you think of the concept behind it, and you're kind of like,
yeah, robots versus monsters, hooray! Like Godzilla.
Yeah, I don't see that working.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like Transformers, that was the first thing that came to mind with the cash grab. Where I was like, okay, this is going to be a fun aliens versus robots, and then nothing left. I didn't think it was going to be interesting. It was going to be a simple, survive the wave of monsters, and then, humans survive, and it's like, yay, Independence Day. I don't know.
That was a good movie.
It was. Except the second one. I heard that one really sucked.
I've never seen the second one.
And I don't think you're missing anything. Sounds like it all went to poop shoot. Right down the squatter potter. Right in the water hole. Through the pipes and out the sewer. Okay, I think I'm done with the poo.
Once again, we just can't.
Well, things, they either stink or they're good. And so anytime we get into a stinky subject, it just keeps going. Like the runs.
Man, I just want to find a top 10 list.
Of what?
Of the best-selling soda.
We are in the middle of a podcast. You cannot be looking this crap up.
That's where we started. That's how things started off.
Oh, that's true.
I was talking about, I used to like Dr. Pepper, then I quit, and then I like Mountain Dew. And I'm just not seeing okay. 2003
I crush
statistics.
This with my hand.
So, number one.
Should I try? No. Okay.
Let me see. It has CSD percentage.
I'm not really sure what that is. Your hand?
Oh, never mind.
Do you think I could do it?
Okay, so that's their percentage of the market that they hold.
Oh, so this is actually like legit.
Coca-Cola, Coke is number one.
Okay.
Number two is Diet Coke.
What?
Number three is Pepsi. Number four is Mountain Dew. 5 is Dr. Pepper. 6 is Sprite, 7 is Diet Pepsi, 8 is Diet Mountain Dew. So, notable is root beer was not on that list.
Which is stupid.
But when you say, oh, do you like root beer? You're like, yeah, I like root beer. Do you really think of a specific brand? I like Barks. And I also like
A&W?
Shasta. And
A&W?
then Mug. And then A&W.
You don't like A&W?
I like
Actually,
A&W. I like
don't-
A&W cream soda.
Yeah.
Cream
see-
soda's good. I think cream soda is underrated.
See, and that should be on there. But I think you need to sit all those root beers next to each other. Well, does Coca-Cola make a root beer? Is this the actual Coca-Cola?
Coca-Cola Coke.
Just a Coca-Cola?
Because it separates
Coca-Cola?
them. So there's Coke and Diet Coke.
Well, that's poop.
And so they're different Coca-Cola brands.
You know, so Coke is winning. Well, that's not surprising because they've been around the longest, haven't they?
Yeah.
Didn't Pepsi come around later?
Because it
Diet
also says
Coke,
next
I
to
knew
it,
it.
it says like the people it came from. So Pepsi and Mountain Dew are both Pepsi. Dr. Pepper is his own Dr. Pepper Snapple. Sprite is Coca-Cola. Diet Pepsi, Diet Mountain Dew is all Pepsi. And it was saying that even though Coca-Cola had the top 2, that Pepsi Cola, I think, outdid as a entirety. So it says even though they don't own the top 2, PepsiCo's earnings significantly outpaced the Coca-Cola companies. In 2013, Pepsi reported $66.4 billion in revenue, while Coca-Cola reported $46.9.
Oh,
So they're a whole, almost like 130% of what they are. Or you could say it as in like Coca-Cola's 60% of Pepsi.
60%?
Yeah. 66 and 46. I don't know, I guess it's 20.
So Pepsi's 46?
But 20 is pretty much a third of 66. Yeah, so Pepsi did really good.
So Pepsi's ahead.
Yeah,
in
where Dr.
revenue.
Pepper, Snapple are about 6 billion.
Yeah, well.
But I mean, they don't have many
They just sell Dr. Pepper.
pieces of the pie.
That's
to
pretty
go in there.
awesome, though, that they get $6 billion off of one soda.
I
Pretty
think it'd
much.
be kind of cool to see all the ones that each of them.
Are really selling. I'm telling you, root beer is the one for everybody. And I don't know why that's not even on there, because that's just stupid.
Because I think Dr. Pepper owns 7-Up.
Do they?
I think it's a Dr. Pepper one.
I don't know.
I'll have to look it
No
up.
one cares for 7-Up.
Pepsi things, though, I mean, Mountain Dew is huge with its branding. There's a lot of Mountain Dew stuff. They have
Yeah.
the Kickstarts.
Well, they were almost like...
Tons of different flavors.
Mountain Dew was around before Red Bull, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think Mountain Dew was the first one to do the sports. Like the
Yeah.
adventure, extremes person. Like do. And now all of a sudden it's the Red the Bull. And that's what's taken over.
See, what's crazy is-
because now Mountain Dew's got they got Morgan Freeman.
One of the coolest commercials ever was a Mountain Dew commercial. I remember this back when I was little, but there's a guy and he's like hiking up in the snowy mountains.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden he sees a ram. And he like takes a drink from the Mountain Dew and he like kind of kicks his foot back as he's like brushing up dirt. And then he goes into like a head butting competition with the ram.
Uh-huh.
And then he like wins.
He won?
It's like
Sounds
one
kind
of
of
the coolest
familiar,
commercials.
actually.
Anybody that's seen that, maybe I'm too old now.
Dang it.
I swear this was when I was in middle school, so it's a pretty old commercial, but it obviously made a pretty big
Oh, wait, when was your birthday?
impact on April 18th.
Oh, it's coming up.
So it's coming up.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
So I got most of my stuff.
You already bought
Yeah, it's pretty much now just things for me to do chores.
Oh,
I got some tools, and then some trees to plant.
there you go.
But I'm pretty excited. They're pretty cool trees. I like colorful ones. So we have Autumn Blaze, and it's like green, but in the fall it goes bright red, which is pretty cool. And then we got a Kwanzan cherry, or the Japanese Kwanzan. It like in the spring for about a month, it has these bright pink flowers, and it has like I kind of like the Japanese type of trees that are kind of skinnier, but they branch out a ton.
And they got a lot of
And they almost
cool
have that
bloom.
mushroom shape as far as what they look like. They have kind of rounded tops. And
the Shenmue tree.
okay, so Dr. Pepper, I'm looking at the list of things they have. So they have all different types of Dr. Pepper, which is quite a bit. Oh, I thought they were going to show other stuff that they own. But
showing more Dr.
I remember this would be kind of a fun thing to do is you get all the variants of each one. You have like an actual taste competition. This will I'll do for my kids' science fair projects when they come up.
Just taste tests?
Yeah.
I guess it could work.
We'll have to scientifically find out the best soda. Because I remember not thinking like a big difference between Dr. Pepper and Mr. Pibb. But if you drink them back to back, so you take 2 cans, you open them both, take a sip of the other, sip of one, sip of the other, it's a huge difference. And then after that, you're like, no, not even close.
See, that's what you need to do. You need to go through and you need to make it more scientific. And then you need to take into account the average taste bud receptors for different flavors in a person's tongue. And then take that down to a chemical structure of each soda and see which ones will actually trigger the taste buds more effectively. And then you'll know which one people will choose beforehand. Sounds awesome.
So I think the way to win little kids' science fairs, because when I was an undergrad,
Let's give them candy.
Judge a ton of them.
Oh, you did?
Most of the time, professors give you extra credit. So we'd go to like the elementary, middle school, high school, and we'd judge them. But you're pretty much just judging them on the scientific process. So who cares about the results? Who cares about what they're studying?
Oh, really?
It's just about
hypothesis and then execution.
following the scientific method and developing good studies. So you have to have a good hypothesis and set up a well-designed study that you get your controlled groups. You factor out anything else that can bias your results and go with there. So you're just looking at how well did they put together their study. And some of them are just so amazing that even if they didn't use a scientific method, you're like, that was cool, man.
Even if they didn't use a scientific
There's this kid, he was like in 6th grade. And this was like pretty far back. This was when like touchscreens hadn't really come out yet.
So
which
there
is
were no
crazy to
iPhones
think
or
that wasn't
iPods
like
with
that
touch.
too long ago, actually.
That was like maybe
he
like
created
10 years
his own
ago.
though, where like had a screen and he would take like a triangle, he put it on there and it showed the shape of the triangle. So he created his own touchscreen computer.
He did?
He was in like 6th grade. He was homeschooled, if that shocks you at all.
It's like all he did is sit at home and make his own computer.
And like you'd ask him questions and he knew what he was doing. Because
Really?
there's some you're like, yeah, the kid did that. Like they're just like, yeah, and they like point to their thing and just start reading their poster.
Yeah.
Like they don't know what they're talking about. This is mom and dad.
Yeah.
I don't care how well you did. You lazy punk.
Yeah. It's like, so where's your parents? They can explain to us this.
But you talk to other kids and like they get all excited about it and they go into all the different things. Like there's one that he took the swabs of DNA from like all of his family members and extended family members, and then they sent him in, and he was getting like deep into it. He's like, well, mitochondrial DNA, and like he was getting way intense with it. And I'm like, you're in 6th grade, bud. Like you're doing way good. This is stuff we're learning in my genetics class right now. He did really good. So you could tell like he did a lot of them.
I'm out of pepper.
So there's like 2 or 3 of those kids that you're like, oh my gosh, you're so smart.
They're gonna
And the
take
rest
over
of
the
them you're
world.
like, oh, your parents did this. And the other ones are like, I'm sad you don't have any parental support. Kind of a bummer, man.
They just stick a shoebox up there and stick a pulling
Like
it.
I think
It's like,
through my whole
this
entire
isn't
life, my
mine.
parents helped me with one homework assignment probably.
Oh, really? I'm trying to
Yeah.
think.
I never really asked. So I mean,
I think my mom helped me with a few. Like, not a ton, but there were a few. Usually anything that had to do with some kind of presentation. They didn't really help me with the science parts, usually. Although, I think there were times that it was neither one of us knew what we were doing with the science thing. So we just made it, like, they just helped it look good. And like, I don't know what this is. Neither do my parents, but it looks good.
I never liked science. I probably still don't. But
Sad.
that's what my major was.
Yeah, it's like
I went to 8 years of school doing science, but it was no fun.
See, yeah, I had fun.
One time on a bike, it was fun.
I had fun. I had fun when I actually got to go to school full time. That was actually the most fun I ever had. At least doing the major. Best thing I ever did. Yeah.
I hate school.
I do too.
But I
Except
kinda
if
wanna
you're
go
doing something you
back.
like to. Yeah.
Because I want to go back and learn stuff that I actually care about now that I
Yeah.
don't have to make a career out of.
Right.
Like, I'd like to go back and do some psychology. I feel like that's really useful when, like, raising kids, talking to people, interacting, self-help.
My
Like,
wife's uncle has like 2 PhDs, and I think both are like psychology type stuff.
mm.
And he doesn't have a job.
Yeah. So that's why I said it's like something I'm interested in, but I don't need to have a job into.
Well,
you know?
I wonder, is there a lot of people that teach that in like colleges and stuff?
Yeah.
Because I was like, I swear
would
he
do that.
could have got a job.
I would
as
do pharmacy part-time.
Well, it sounds like BYU would pay a lot.
And then
They
my
pay a
neighbor
lot.
actually is a professor
At
of
BYU?
psychology. Yeah.
At BYU.
Uh-huh.
Dang, see?
I think most of the
wonder
research
why-
he does is in like children and like behavioral disorders.
See, I wonder why, because I'm like, he has these PhDs in like social and psychological science stuff, and I'm like, why don't you actually just like? I think he's one of those that just doesn't like the system. I don't know. Like, I'm like, he's had this PhD for years, and I'm like, you can teach with that, right? Like, that's like an automatic
I think that's what most people
do with a PhD.
like. If you got like in psychology and stuff like that, you can
you
either
become
like do research
or a psychiatrist,
at a school and lecture about it,
uh-huh.
or you're like a social worker.
So
I think
good.
some are like therapists and everything like that, but that's
Yeah.
pretty much a social worker, I would say.
Yeah,
Like there's differences, and
a high-paid social worker versus
yeah, because
a
like
state social worker.
a psychologist and stuff like that, they don't prescribe medications. You have to be a psychiatrist to do that,
Oh, that's
and that's when you get your MD first, so you're a doctor, and then you go and you do a residency in psychiatry.
so
Where
you have to be a
psychologists,
doctor
they don't go
first.
to medical school. They just
So a psychiatrist has to become a doctor first, then they do psychology.
where psychologists they
just-
go to school and
Straight psychology.
that's all they learn is psychology stuff. Which I'm not
There you
saying
go.
one is better than the other. I think they have different approaches on
Yeah.
how they do it. And I'm not saying one approach is better than the other. But
Huh.
yeah.
Interesting.
So if you want to get your Xanax, you probably go to a psychiatrist and not a psychologist.
Psychologist could probably tell you need it, but he wouldn't couldn't prescribe it.
I would be curious to see how a lot of that works. Like how many of them can do like collaborative practices with prescribers.
Yeah, I wonder
so
if
they write
do
under their
have
name.
that. Oh, yeah, like a PA or something.
Because I actually thought about that as like, as a pharmacist, if I got like a PhD in psychology, being like, hey, so I can see patients every Monday at your clinic, and
And being a
we'll
pharmacist,
just
you
charge
could
them,
use-
and I'll give you a share of it, and you don't have to do anything. I just write prescriptions for Lexapro and Zoloft under your name. I'd be like, and as a pharmacist, and like it would be even cool too. You'd be like, sorry, I can't do controlled because I'm using the collaborative practice. I can't prescribe you a Xanax. That would be really cool. But I think my biggest focus would be drug abuse. I think that's what really intrigues me and that I like helping people with. I think I'd have more patience with that. I think people have anxiety or OCD. I have a hard time being patient with that. Depression's kind of hard too. Schizophrenia is challenging, but I find it really interesting. But like substance abuse, I think is the most. That's where I'd want to specialize in. So be it. Suboxone Clinic.
There you go. Naloxone.
Which is crazy. The DA just did like a huge raid, and they like
Got a lot of naloxone or Suboxone?
I can't remember the statistics. I'd have to pull up my work email, but I think they made like 28 arrests.
Why? Oh, Suboxone?
for their no, just the opioid.
Oh,
So they sent out and
epidemic.
did tons of audits in like doctors' offices, pharmacies, and like manufacturers.
Do you think they make stuff illegal
insurance
so that
companies.
police have a job?
I bet that wouldn't hurt.
Just curious.
Because as a lawyer, if you were to like pass a bill to give you more laws that you could be a lawyer for,
yeah, get hired
lawyer
to.
for.
Yeah, get hired to.
wouldn't.
It's like, oh, there's a law on that. I could help you.
I feel like we
enforce
have
it.
way too many laws,
Yeah, it's weird.
and I feel like the government doesn't really regulate everything.
No, they don't. I don't think they care to. I think they just have them there in case something stupid comes up and they want to pin something on something.
It's kind of like the Walmart thing. So you got to have those rules because that one idiot over in New York or some random state did that one thing that was really stupid, and now we all got to do this.
Right. Well, and then no one ever follows the rule, but if anything ever hits the fan, they'll say, well, you should have followed that rule, so it's not our fault.
Mm-hmm.
So they can always pass the buck down to...
And the hard thing is, like, with everything in life, there's all these shades of gray.
Yeah.
So it's hard to give black and white parameters to gray colors.
Yeah.
Like, is this more black or is this more white? And so it's kind of in between. So if we do it all black,
It's
then
80% gray.
that sucks for
That's
for
actually...
the white parts of it. But if we do it white, that sucks for the black parts of it.
Right.
Nothing to do with race. I'm just talking about shades of gray.
Good and bad.
Like 50 shades of gray. But yeah, I think we can do with less laws. I also think it'd be cool if we had like free market and a lot more government entities. Like
More government entities?
like a free market, so the government had to compete against it. Like if you look at what UPS and FedEx has done for the USPS.
Oh, to
They're
make it
like,
actually
hey,
work better?
We can't work on holidays. We can't work on weekends. You're going to get this flat rate of what you're shipping out, and you're going to get it in this time. And all of a sudden, oh, we can do priority mail. We can do this.
Yeah.
We can do this because they have to. So if we did that with more things like the DMV, I feel like there's got to be an easier way to regulate people getting licenses
I
to
think
drive
there would-
vehicles.
I
And I
think
think
it should
too
be
many
more
people have
incentive.
licenses that shouldn't.
That's true. I think they should just... I don't know. I don't know which is better. Incentivizing or punishing.
I like incentives.
I like incentives more because then if you don't want it, you don't have to worry about it. But then if you don't get it and you see someone else with it, you can't complain because you didn't do what it took to get the incentive. So it's like,
You can always complain though.
yeah, it's true.
But yeah, but at the same time, you're like,
but there's no
then do
basis
it.
for it. It's like, yeah, people can complain, but there's like, you know how to do it. So anyway,
You make that much money. You're
Yeah.
like, well, you go make that much money.
right. It's like, you can.
Take the same steps I did.
So yeah, it's like, I don't know how to do it. Well, it's like, well, then learn. It's like, I didn't know how to do it. Anyway, yeah.
Mm.
So I think incentive is nice, and I think it's good.
From like a managing perspective, I know which is different than like laws and regulations,
Uh-huh.
but like everyone's so different of what they take.
Right.
Like some people, you put a law on speeding restrictions, and they're
Uh-huh.
like, psh, tickets don't mean anything to me. I don't really care. Other people are like, man, I don't want to get a ticket.
Yeah, I don't
It
wanna
costs
get-
money. I don't want to do that.
Right. It does
Other
depend.
people are like, oh, I'm rewarded. I get cheaper insurance because, I'm a good driver.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of cool. So they're incentivized, but the other way they're...
So maybe they
punished.
need a combination of
But
both.
people still speed all the time.
Yeah.
And people suck at driving.
Yeah.
We're in Utah, which is like one of the worst states, but it's
That's why I'm so happy I
frustrating.
don't drive.
There's so
Well,
many...
I mean, I do, but I take the train to
I
work.
can drive. I have my license. I
I
drive
just
all the
don't.
time, but to work, I commute.
That's right. It's like, I don't want to see. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Even just driving home today.
It's a bummer.
Yeah. I don't like
It's
it.
nice not having to think about it or worry. And
Oh, it's so great.
I was driving to
I
get
love it.
some plywood for a project I'm doing for my wife,
Uh-huh.
and a car hit me,
Really?
and just kept driving. Like there's barely any scratches,
Oh.
but like I was pulling into the median because I had to turn left and like
Actually
almost do a
hit
U-turn
you,
from
or-
it. Yeah. And then this other car comes flying through and starts going down as well. So we kind of like met at the median, but instead of him like staying in the median, he was parked in his big truck. So he was in both sides of traffic and the median. So I'm like stopping, and I'm like trying to scoot over to get out of his way, and a car hit me while I was in the median. But there's hardly any scratches.
Did you even get dented, or was it just like a brush? It was like a brush up against, yeah.
But like the cars are made out of like plastic,
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of that damage. It was metal, it's like, and it takes a big ding. This one just kind of bends in and pops back out, like kind of cool the way it does that.
That is nice.
But
yeah, that sucks. And you just kept driving.
Yeah, they don't care. I heard in this white van. So sorry, I would have liked talked to and find out what happened.
Yeah, do the insurance.
A nice person, but
wop.
Because I stopped and I was like, oh man, and they just kept driving. I was like, okay, I guess they don't care. I don't really care either. So.
Maybe they don't have insurance. Like, crap.
Yeah. Well, that was the first thing I thought was like, maybe they're illegal because the type of car made me think about that.
They're like, just run, just go,
I don't know if that's
just go.
Racist for me to say.
No, I don't think it's racist.
But you can tell, like, almost the ethnicity of a driver by what they're driving.
And how they drive. Well, it's not ethnicity.
I don't know if I'd go as far as to say how they drive.
Well, because I wouldn't say ethnicity as much as their cultural values.
Yeah. Because I think...
Because they could be any color they want, but they were raised
Mexico,
in a
I think they drive so much better than here in America.
That's probably true. I don't know.
Like... Whenever I see them, they're like going the speed limit, and they're like, "I'm not in a big hurry. Like, I'd rather be safe."
Well, sometimes their cars can't go any faster. Just kidding. Not to say that
you're pretty brown. I don't think you can be racist.
That's
just kidding.
Actually, the way I'm just saying, in my being brown, it's like I'm just racist to both sides. It seems like they both look at me as a foreigner. I can't be white and I can't be dark. It's like you're in the middle, so nobody likes you. Everyone's racist against me.
I'm gonna be like that one lady and just start saying I'm black.
Because you identify?
Yeah, and then I'll become like one of the leaders of like a black organization. And then like have my family call me out like, John, you're not black. You're not even like a part black. You're like from Italy.
Yeah, it's like you're from Europe.
And Germany, like, you're not black at all.
It's like...
You look kind of Irish.
It's like, oh, well, that's very racist of you to say.
I'm trying to think what her name was.
Yeah, I remember that
like
whole
Lisa,
thing. And you're like,
maybe.
Everyone was just like,
I was like,
no.
That's like the worst thing you can do. Like, because she was in a position, I don't know.
Is she still
totally
there?
Exposing it and taking all the
benefits and stuff of it?
Yeah, she's making people like feel bad for a cause that she had nothing to do with. Like, I would be upset if I was African American and she was.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah,
faking.
You understand me?
She's like, yeah, we needed, and you're like, we, like, me,
I don't think you
you
grew up the same way.
Yeah,
like, our cultures are totally different.
You could totally support us, but don't jump on our back and say you're getting discriminated as an African American woman.
Discriminating us.
You're not an African American woman. You don't know what it's like.
Well, and
because I still think there's racism.
Right. Well, I think yeah.
I don't think it's like what it used to be, and I feel.
I don't think it's like it used to.
We get our baby boomer generation to die, and we'll lose a good portion of racists. Because I feel like the more generations that go by, the more people just don't care. Like, well, I don't ever remember a single time in my life where I cared at all about race.
No.
And I don't know if that's just me of being born in 1988 and living through like the 90s, 2000s, 2010s. Where
maybe. Yeah, because I never.
Or maybe
really
it was different if I lived in the
it.
50s, like pre-civil rights. I don't know if anybody caught that. There was an Easter egg.
Cadbury.
We tried making a dish that was, you had Cadbury eggs and chocolate, and then you put Peeps on top, and you put it, and you bake them so they all melt, and then you dip graham crackers in them.
Is it the Cadbury eggs that have like the filling in it?
The little ones. I don't think I've ever eaten a Cadbury egg. One of those filling ones.
Eat one, because they're good.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll eat one. But yeah. So I think I was talking about soda again.
Yeah, man.
Darn it, we can't ever stay on track.
No, we're always off on something.
But best soda, I'd have to really think about it.
I still say it's root beer because root beer can go with pizza, it can go with burgers, it can go with.
I'd eat Mountain Dew with all those.
But you're weird. No, just
Shut
kidding.
up, John. No one asked you.
Well, you can drink Mountain Dew with anything, but I'm talking about
I think root beer is underrated.
It is because it's been so used
I think the hard part it has is it's a good flavor, and anybody can make a good root beer.
Almost. Well, yeah, that's true. People make it on their own a lot with dry
I'm
ice
saying
and
any
stuff.
company come out if you look at Shasta, Barks, A&W,
Everyone can make their own
everything like that.
brand of root
They're
beer.
all good root beers. It's not like you got Joe Schmo's Cola Pop, and you're like,
but root
nah,
beer is
Coke
the
is much better.
safest to go with.
Pepsi's much better.
Isn't it? You can take a root beer to any party
what I'm
and
saying.
people will just drink it.
If they're like, hey, we have this off-brand cola, you're like,
I don't know if
I'll go with an off-brand root beer,
right,
and that'll be better. And so I think there's more people taking chunks of the pie, so it's hard to have one brand that sticks out that gets popular.
Well, and that's why I think root beer can go with technically anything, any kind of fast food or party food or junk food.
I like
root beer goes.
When I go
with
to
it.
Subway, I usually get a root beer.
See, I've never tried it with a Subway. That's crazy.
That and a meatball sandwich.
I could see it going with that.
Pretty yum stuff.
Oh my goodness.
We're just gonna have to do bleeps so it sounds like you're swearing. Sitting there, it's burp, out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh.
Oh, Steven. Oh, how would you spell Steven? No, that sounds horrible.
One of the opposite sides of a table.
Yeah.
Just heads up.
Yeah. Well, that was me saying my own name. Anyway.
That's even worse.
Oh, is it? Okay.
That's just me by myself moaning my own name.
It wasn't necessarily a moan, was it? Anyway.
Oh, Steph, this is what you said.
I was going to ask, how would you spell the name Stefan?
If I had a kid and his name was going to be Stefan, I would do Stefan.
Okay.
Which sounds like the stupid way to spell it. I like simple and really easy.
Well, and that's the thing. And people can't mess it up. Well, because my wife's been trying to get me to switch it. The spelling.
Really?
Yeah.
I've actually thought about switching my last name.
Switching the whole last name?
So I did a rotation with the VA, and I had to do a background check, and that's when the government got hacked.
Yeah.
And so I got my social security, my identity stolen.
Yeah.
It's going to be like that for the rest of my life. They have no idea who did it. It's probably some foreign government. But ever since then, I keep getting everything stolen. It's just every
Really?
year, I have to go get a new credit card, or I have to go fight this thing or do this. Luckily, my bank, Zion's Bank, is really good about catching it. And they're like, hey, this looks like fraudulent. What do you think? I'm like, oh, yeah, that is. I don't think there's been a single time that I've had to call them and be like, hey, I didn't do that. Every single time they see that it's like that, they call me. So they're great about it.
Is it
so,
within the States or is this
it's not a huge thing. Usually it's within the States. I've had a couple that have been outside the States, but usually Mexico or Puerto Rico. It's not China that people are buying things. New York is a big spot.
I believe it.
And they buy it on stupid stuff like wine, and they're like, hey, John, you don't buy wine? I was like, yeah, it's gross. But then they catch it every time. But since then, I'm like, I wonder how hard it would be to change your social security number, because you can do it. And I was like, when I do that, I can maybe just switch my name too. Kunzler's kind of hard to say. Kunzler. I even have a hard time saying it. And you have to spell it out, and it's just a hassle. And I was like, my wife's maiden name was Morris. I could just be John Morris.
That'd be interesting.
I'd be fine with that. It sounds cooler. It'd be like, now I'm set to be a movie star. I'm John Morris.
John Morris. There you go.
It's easy to say. People would remember as, I don't know. It'd be easier than Kunzler.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of unique, Kunzler. At the same time, I have no attachment to it.
Yeah. Well,
if
my
kids
thing
were
is
Morrises, I wouldn't care.
A lot of Morrises.
To be honest, they're my kids, and that's all I care about. I don't care what their names are.
There you go. See, that's how I am a little times.
I said that to a nurse once, and she flipped out. I was talking with the pharmacist on a rotation, and she's like, "Oh, what do you name your kids?" I'm like, I don't really mind. I like a lot of names, so my wife really cares. She's gonna pick it out, and then if I like it, we'll just go with it. And she just freaked out. She recently divorced, so
so she's got a lot of baggage.
but I could see why she was kind of a bitch. But she, sorry, but she was like,
that was
typical
a burp.
man. And she just kept going off. She's like, you know what? I'm not even gonna go there. Ugh, that just makes me so mad that you would say that. And I was like, I don't care about it, and she cares about it a lot. So I would give her the opportunity to come up with a name because she cares about it more. So obviously she should be the one coming up with the name. It's not like I'm totally non-existent from it. If she was like, we're gonna call her Brunda Helga, and I'll be like, Chan, that's a stupid name.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna call her Ass Turd, and I'm like, so Ass Turd sounds a lot like Ass Turd. Let's maybe not name them that.
Yeah,
if it's something like that, I'd like, nah, I don't really dig it. But she's like, oh, I heard Berkeley and I really like it. I was like, Berkeley's a great name. I like it.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's like, I don't care if Berkeley was named whatever. If she was Helga, I'd still love her a lot. And she'd be my Helga. And it would go because that's my daughter. And that's my view on it. I'm sorry if you think I'm a terrible person because of it.
Please
I think
do
she
not
just had
kill us.
maturity issues.
Yeah, that sounds like a maturity issue. Most female dogs have that.
No, but you know how people are like, drama follows me everywhere. Duh. Or everyone's so stupid. And it's like, maybe you're stupid.
Yeah.
And you think everyone's stupid because they're actually making sense, but you're too stupid to realize the sense they're making. Or maybe everyone seems dramatic because everything you do is really dramatic and you bring drama toward you.
There's a lot of stupidity going around.
So yeah, I'm just surrounded by idiots all the time, and it's just really hard.
It's really hard.
It's probably
sometimes.
just a keyword for saying I'm kind of an idiot.
Yeah. But it shouldn't be too hard to switch the spelling of my name.
Yeah. Full circle.
Because we talked to the people about it, and they're like, my name is technically still the same, we're just changing the spelling. So they said that shouldn't be too hard to switch.
Yeah, because you'd have to switch it with like some records. But nowadays with the internet, like that's pretty easy.
For the
It's
most
not like
part,
I have to drive to the bank. I have to drive to the post
you
service.
just
Pull up a couple tabs and I can open them all at the same time and knock them out and be like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, so
I'm sure if you went to the Social Security office, they'd have a list of things that you'd want to contact to get them swithed to.
Especially, yeah.
Like, hey, go to the
for
IRS's
things.
website and make sure that your taxes, everything are done like that.
That's what's going to suck.
Because I actually had one of my employers put in my wrong Social Security number, and I had to fix that for like 2 years of taxes, and it probably took like 7 minutes
Oh,
to
really?
fix all that. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
You like call them up and like, hey, the ones we reported were wrong. Like, oh, is it supposed to be this? And you're like, yeah, it is. Like, all right. And that was it, which is surprising because it was the government. But
Yeah, government's interesting.
yeah,
Oh,
I was
that's
surprised
good.
how easy. But like, I'll do it. If you switch your name, how are you going to spell it?
FAN's what my wife wants.
Stefan.
Yeah.
You're so whooped. She's telling you how to spell your name.
Shut up. It just means we have a healthy relationship.
No. See, I think that's good. I think you can be whooped and like, oh, that would be easier to spell. All right.
It's easier to spell. I'm still Stefan. And people would actually say Stefan instead of Steven.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest thing, but
Because if it was Steven, I would spell it Stevan.
yeah.
Or En.
En.
I'd
Yeah, I've seen
probably
En.
use Steven.
But with a
Steven.
V, regardless. You
Yeah.
would have done with a V. Anyway, yeah. It drove me nuts when I...
Yeah, I do EVE.
Yeah.
And
Evie.
like even, but then at the beginning. Steven.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, I've never seen even spelled with a PH.
Like my second daughter is Zoe. And
That'd
like
be
my mom's like,
Ethan.
oh, how do we spell it? I was like, ZOE is the only way that I want to spell it. Like, let's not be like ZOEIIEYEEYYYE.
How would you spell Noel?
NOEL.
Okay. Anyway, that's another reason we're going to change names.
Or I do NO-L.
Is it
Noel.
Oh, the little like above the what?
So it'd be NO-L. So no L. Like if you were to name yourself Ladasha, you'd have an LA
No
dash
L.
A.
Oh, like a
So it'd be Law.
No.
Hyphen A. You need to call it a dash.
That would be weird. But no, my wife wanted to name because our youngest daughter, her middle name's Noelle. But when we did it initially, we just did it Noel. Because I was like, just do it the Christmas Noel. Everyone will know what that is. It'll be great. And then it'll be fine. Oh my.
I'm dying.
It's not fine. Anyway, but she wanted to do the feminine spelling, which is like Noelle or something like that. And I was like, it doesn't matter. And she's like, and it drove her crazy. Anyway, so now it finally drove her crazy enough that she's just going to switch it. And I'm like, okay. And then when she did that, she's like, let's just change your name too. Or change the spelling. I was like, I've been holding off on it because I'm not sure how my parents will feel about that. And I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm glad you picked my name. It's still the same name. I'm just going to change the spelling because it's my name, not yours.
Right.
I'm the one that has to deal with it.
Yeah, for the next...
I think more kids should do that because parents are getting ridiculous. Like, yes. I don't think Stephen being E-P-H-E-N is like that big of a thing.
No.
Like, I wouldn't spell it like that.
No, because everyone's got a thought of it. But anyway.
Because I don't want people to be like, oh, it's actually this. Because I grew up my whole life like, oh, it's not Kunzler. Technically, it was in Germany, and then they came over here and they Americanized it. Now it's Kunzler. Or like having to always do that. But
I hate doing
Morris,
that.
they're like, oh, how do you spell that? It's like Morris.
Morris.
Yeah, it's easy. Everyone know how to spell that.
Yeah.
But I think more people should do that because Utah, I don't know if it's just Utah or maybe it's nationwide.
I don't
but
know. Whoever started it is an idiot.
With baby names.
Some person was like, I spelled Jacqueline with 3 Q's and the number 3. And you're like, and then all the other mothers are like, oh, well, I'm going to make a crazier one.
Like, how do you spell Jacqueline? It's J-O-I. And you're like, that's not English. You can't just do
Those
that.
don't even sound out the right way.
So I was like, to my wife, like, oh, yeah, let's name our next kid John. And we'll spell it like P-H-N-X-Z-H. All those are silent.
Just do XYZ. Is XYZ here? It's actually John.
It's actually pronounced Amanda.
It's like,
all
there is X, Y, and Z.
They're like, Yeez.
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually pronounced Amanda. Like, oh, what? Yeah.
That would actually be a funny skit
parents
if
can do
they
whatever the hell
haven't
they
done
want.
it yet.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, it's like, that's just how it is. I'm sorry.
All you have to do is fill out the paperwork when you're at the hospital. That's it.
Yeah.
That name is now your name.
We're deciding how things are pronounced now. Anyway, so that was a thing. Gotta probably be doing that in the next week or two. Or even
so you're like going through with it, not just like a thought.
Well, yeah, that's why we're talking about is because we're already going to do Noelle's spelling to the Noelle instead of Noel. And in the meantime, she's like, let's just do everything. I was like, okay.
Wait, you have a kid named Noelle?
Her name is Everly Noelle.
Oh, the middle name. I was like,
yeah.
I swear I would have remembered this.
No, yeah, you would have.
But then you said Everly, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. Yeah, Everly Noelle. And we were calling her Everly for a while, but her cousin...
Everly.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. I like it too. But
what do you call her for short?
Evie.
Evie? Oh, see, I like that.
Yeah, it was easy. It was great. But she has a cousin, same age, or yeah, within a few months. Her name is Emberly. Yeah.
Everly's cooler.
It is. And it was irritating because Everly was born first. And we named her first. And then all this, and they had like other names that they were going to do, like Sherry and all these other names. And then all of a sudden they're like, Emberly. And I was like, okay, whatever. But now they had the same kind of nicknames. They call her Emmy. And we call Everly Evie. And so it's like, you screwed us so bad. Anyway, so what happened was it drove my wife crazy. I was just going to live with him, like, whatever. But...
you should just change everyone's name. Just
yeah. Well, because... Yeah.
Because that's one thing why I wouldn't change my last name is probably because my kids already have that last name, so I'd have to change their names too.
But they haven't started school, have they?
Yeah.
kind of.
But they already like know their name.
Oh,
So I felt like that'd be a hard concept for them.
we
just
tried
to throw at them.
we tried to switch
you're
Anthony's
actually
name.
Berkeley Camille Morris now, not Kunzler. Kunzler's just not going to exist.
Yeah.
Grandma and Grandpa Kunzler.
Yeah. That would be hard. Yeah, and that's why Everly's not bad because she just barely turned. Yeah, she just barely turned a year like a few months ago. So she's fine switching her to Noelle. She'll probably be fine. But Anthony, he's like going on 3. And we tried to call him by his middle name, Joseph. Didn't work.
Joey Jojo.
Yeah.
That's what I call him every single time.
Yeah, I call him Little Joe. But
Little Joe.
it didn't work. Cool. Yeah. Well, it didn't stick. We'd called him Anthony for too long. And he even like was starting to tell my wife. He's like, I'm Anthony. It's like, well, that's that. Can't mess with that one.
Yep. It's already engraved in his head. He's like, you can't just switch your
you just can't do this
whenever
to me.
you want.
Yeah, you can't just do this
Even
to
though
me.
Dad's doing that and
right.
But they don't know how to spell it, so
it.
I mean they're not gonna know that.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean it's still Stefan, which is nice. It's just the spelling, so everyone else who's reading like off names or something like, and could we get Steven? I have that so much, it's so irritating.
Yeah. But you just go with it.
I do for a lot of it. Like I don't even care. Like doctor's office.
It's not as funny as when like patients are like, and they just start speaking Spanish, and you're like, I don't speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And they look at you like, you look like you're Mexican. Like, no way do you not speak Spanish.
Like, yes, well, I actually had a guy do that at Heber when I was floating there. The guy got all upset at me and because I wasn't speaking Spanish to him, and he wouldn't do anything but Spanish. He had to bring in some other guy that looked like his dad. I mean, this guy looked like he was like in his 30s and 40s, and he brings in this other guy. It's like looks like he's 60 to speak English for him. Anyway, but the pharmacist I was with, he could speak Spanish, and he's like, they got, I don't know, he got all upset, and he's regular. He's always kind of angry, but he got super angry at me. And then afterwards, the pharmacist is like, I really think he thought you could speak Spanish and just refused to talk to him.
Like, I get all the time.
He's like,
and I just look at him like, no,
he's like,
sorry.
Yeah, because after the whole thing, he tried to like smooth it over and say, no, it's, he's, all this kind of stuff.
I spent some time
like,
in Canada.
Yeah.
I could speak a little bit of Canadian.
Yeah, I could say, yeah. Speak some Newfoundlandese. Anyway, it was
sorry
just,
about that.
Yeah, sorry about it. Yeah. Well, it would have been funny. It's almost like when you see, an African American with a British accent or something. You're like, that's not where you're from. Is that where you're from?
Yeah, you kind of get that stereotype with where white people are everywhere. Nowadays, everyone's everywhere.
Right.
There's an episode of Futurama, and I'm like, that's so smart. They like go to a planet after a while, and everyone has like brown skin and like an orange brownish hair. And it's like just after time, everyone's genes just all mixed up. Everyone's just the mix of everything.
That's how it goes. To the mix.
Because that would be cool, but I think people still hate people for whatever.
Yeah, because
you could fix racism, but it's just going to go into something else.
Well, because I think the basis
people just like to hate. I think.
Right. Well, and I think it's a mix of a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly. The brown with the. I'm just kidding. It makes a lot of things.
Yeah, I
joke landed.
Is that like a good explosion or a bad explosion?
It's a bad one. That means my joke bombed.
Oh, well, because sometimes it's like, it's the bomb.
But my bomb sound effect nailed it. But anyways, so a mix of all colors.
Well, it makes of all kinds of like emotions and stuff where it's like, I think there's some jealousy, there's some envy, there's some fear, all those little things. Like racism, I think that term is so loosely used. It's like, there's a lot that goes into what people consider racism. Because, I mean...
And I don't understand a lot of racism. Like, I hear things...
I think a lot of it's just bad experiences. It's like going to a coffee shop that you hate, or we go there, get a bad experience, and like, I'll never go there again, even though the stuff's fine. But you had a horrible experience, and so every coffee shop's now just horrible.
Like, me, I would define myself as colorblind. Like, I think an asshole's an asshole. Like, I don't care what color skin you have. If you're a jerk, I'm not going to like jerks. But other people are like, well, that's racist. You got to, like, accept
jerks for who they are.
And you got to, like, and I was like, the color has nothing to do with it. Like,
no.
You have people with black skin that have all sorts of different backgrounds. You can't just assume it, because I think that's racist.
Right. To assume, oh, you must be from Africa, or I must speak Spanish.
Like, no, I'm actually from northern Utah. Yeah,
lived here my whole life.
This is kind of weird. It's like, no, you're ghetto, and you're like, no, I'm not. That's actually super racist.
That's
to
when you
assume
get those
that
people that go, so where are you from? Utah. And they're like, well, where's your family from? California. No, where are they? They're like extended family. Don't you come from like somewhere else? It's like, nope. That's as far as we go.
Far back as I know.
Yeah.
Probably
maybe
like
I think Ohio.
30 generations.
I think Ohio was the furthest back I can think. Like, have you always been in the States? It's like, is that a surprise?
You look brown. Tell me why you're brown.
It's like, just brown people.
Melanin?
Yeah.
In my skin?
I tan easily.
It's like, I just tan.
Yeah, it's like, there you go.
It's just what I look like.
Crazy funny stuff.
Genetics?
Lots of genetics.
Yeah, I don't understand why people care what people's skin color is. Doesn't make sense.
It's weird. But gonna have to wrap this up.
Okay. I do want to say that there's probably people out there that make us want to care, and they're also the ones saying that we shouldn't care, but they keep bringing it up and making bigger deals out of what it really is.
Yeah.
To get reactions and to push their own agenda. Because then the more they do that, the more people they get to hate about it.
And then they can control you.
I feel like people should just be nice.
Control. Through fear.
One thing I hate, though, white people.
I don't like brown people.
He's saying that because he's brown.
Yeah,
But
if you could see me.
technically Caucasian.
What would that?
So I'm gonna say
technically
I hate
Caucasian.
Caucasians.
How could you say that? I'm a brown Caucasian. How does that work?
Yeah.
I'm a twist cone. Everyone likes twist cones, right?
Yeah. I feel like on like application stuff like that, that shouldn't even just be an option.
Yeah, it's like, it's funny. I think that is hilarious how that is. It's like, we want to diversify by making everyone explain what color
like,
you are.
Yeah, and I feel like I could put down whatever and like,
It doesn't matter, but tell us what you
who's
are.
gonna
It's
call
like,
me out
does it
on it?
matter?
Are they going to ask for like proof? And you're like,
Yeah.
you want me to do like a genetics test or something?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever asked that.
Uh-huh.
They're like, what are you? I'm whatever gets me the job. That's
Yeah. You're like, well, I got this interview from it. And it's a phone interview, so you don't even know until I show up and work. Like, this guy's not black. And they come in with your
so we're
bright
looking
red
for
hair and pale
Spencer.
skin.
I'm Spencer.
You're sunburnt from the lights inside.
There you go. Yeah.
Like, hey.
Just got done with the
It's actually pronounced Aaron, not Aaron.
Aaron Balaki.
Balake. That's a funny skit.
That is a very funny skit. All right, so we're gonna throw out a Twitter poll for sodas.
Okay. And someday we'll finish the TV shows.
Someday.
We had an intermission.
A long intermission because
Well, it's hard. We're getting to like some of the big networks have been around forever. So like NBC, CBS, ABC, that's gonna be hard to do.
it was a pretty big.
It's gonna hard to narrow it down and
Yeah, it's gonna be
know
tough.
where to break them up. Because usually I'll have like get all the sitcoms together or all the comedies together, all the dramas together. You can almost do like a whole section just at CSI. There's so many of those. So.
There are a lot.
Plus, just been busy.
Lots of busy going into the summer.
I got lots of chores. It's almost lawn mowing season.
I know.
And it is. Oh, so I got this cool weed puller. So if anybody, this will be a plug. Not our sponsor.
That didn't work at all.
Lee Valley is awesome. They have cool gardening stuff, woodworking stuff, and kitchen stuff. Like I got this thermometer that takes 4 seconds and it gets up to the temperature it's supposed to be. So when you're checking meat and stuff like that, you just put it in. 4 seconds later, it has the thing. They're not waiting and slowly watching it rise up. So it's pretty awesome. I also got these big bear claws that you use to pull things. You can like stab it in your meat while you cut and stuff like that. They're actually pretty sharp. They're like almost like real bear claws. I felt like Wolverine when I had them in my hands.
You use they go between your fingers?
So they have a handle, and then it's almost like Wolverine, but it has I think 4 or 5
like a curve
little
on it?
claws. Yeah, like a curve. So they're almost like your fingers coming out.
You have it on both hands?
And you put them on both hands, and so you have the meat in front of you, and you'll stab both of them into it, and then you just pull it apart with that, and that just pulls like it.
That sounds like a pretty good idea to shred.
It's ingenious.
Yeah, for shredding.
And then I saw other pictures, and they'll do that same thing where they take one and they'll stab it into like a ham just to secure it while you cut everything up.
Oh.
So like if you were attacked by a bear, I mean they pretty much turned you into pulled pork, and it's the same concept. So you just have claws that you.
I don't know if I would look like pulled pork. I'd look more like.
Oh, you would look like pulled pork.
Yeah, I don't think it'd look like pulled pork. I think it'd look more like ground beef.
We'd have to go. Let's go look at some pictures of
people who've been torn up. Yeah, torn up, torn up. Nope. I think that causes a good day and night for that one. I hope y'all can go to sleep with that image in your mind.
All right. And we don't really need to sign off that much anymore because Shane, he's in every episode where he goes, follow us on Instagram, Facebook. I can't do a Shane voice, man. He has such a good voice. I wish I had. I have like this.
Do more. Him being out in Ephraim, he could probably find a job like that. There's some people out there. They could use some radio announcers going, and some Santa Claus ho ho hos.
Oh, anyways, Lee Valley. So this is where I was going with the whole thing. Oh. They have a weed puller. It's so ingenious. So it's like has a handle like a shovel would. So it's a big long wooden handle. But on the end, it has these claws that come out. Okay. And they're almost like cootie catchers. You twist where there's 4 sides to it, and they all will like enclose in. So you put it over the weed, and it goes into the ground, and then when you push it to the side, the lever pops up, and it squeezes those together, so it pulls the weed out.
Does it work pretty well?
It works awesome, and Lee Valley has all these really cool stuff. So if anybody's into like kitchen stuff, woodworking, or outdoors gardening, yard work, and that. Go to Lee Valley and you'll spend like a couple hours and then spend like $500.
I bought like a $900 tent.
See, stuff like that where you're like, I kind of need a tent now. But it's a little bit more expensive, but everything there has been like amazing. Everything's engineered really well. It's high class. It's not garbage. Like anything you get from there is going to be a long tenured tool that you use. And they'll all be fancy.
Fancy.
The pants are fancy pants. And they do a dance. My daughter, sometimes I'll call her the Burks that twerks for work. And I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah,
but it rhymes so well. I guess.
You're going to raise her to be something you wish you'd had.
She's already super sassy. Like, she was at a friend's house. And she got like a little scratch on her face, and she thought it was a wart. So she just starts bawling, and like they can't even talk to her. And they finally like get her calmed down enough. She's like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "I have a wart on my face." And was crying. It's like, "That's not a wart." And she's like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, never mind.
I fixed it.
Drama
today,
queens are horrible.
Like before you came over, she spent about half an hour doing my hair. Which is why it's all nasty. And she was putting like stuff in. I didn't know this. I was like, why is that wet? And like I look at her hand and she has this big glob of, I don't even know what it is. I don't know if it was like lotion or like,
she got it.
But it's kind of gross. And then she has like a detangler spray and she's like spraying that in my hair. And I'm like, I'm going to wash my hair tonight or it's going to all fall out.
Yeah, that's going to be a mess.
I'll be short, fat, ugly, and bald.
But if you get your beard, then you'll be like one of the tough guys from like action movies.
Where you're bald with a beard?
Yeah, bald and bearded.
Be like, the reason I'm bald is because I have my testosterone. My muscles just push it all out of my head.
and out of my face. That's just how it goes.
I feel like I can't pull off being bald. I have a weird shaped head.
I don't think I could. That's why I'll have a crazy comb over when I get older. It's just like,
well, I think
check it out.
They're probably close to curing baldness. I've seen a lot of studies of like different ways of them doing it. I don't know why I did that. I did it once on accident, so I did a lot on purpose to make it funny, but it didn't work.
Here we go. Okay, try it. You go ahead.
But yeah, so there'll be a cure for baldness, hopefully by the time I go bald.
I hope so.
Because I mean, people do hair transplants, like celebrities gotta have.
Oh, that's just gross. Anyway,
I've actually seen it. It's intense. They're like,
I bought an $800.
like,
no, $900. Sorry.
The whole hair transplants and stuff like that. Those are intense, and like there's quite the recovery from it. I was like, oh,
was it worth it?
Easy.
That's the question.
But now I see on Facebook they have this like dome you put over your head and these lasers that shoot into you and your hair grows.
Do you ever see those
Anytime
like spray on hair things? What is that?
I don't buy it.
You ever see the spray in hair stuff?
Yeah.
Does it really work? I've seen videos of it, but I'm like, if this really works, no.
Pretty much is like painting your scalp so you can't see all the bald spots.
Because I'm like, they make it look like, look how nice and easy this is, and it's like, if it really was that easy, why doesn't it
starts raining and it just starts pouring on the front of their face? Then they start looking like the Joker.
Yeah, it's like,
it's like messed up.
That's what happened to him. Mm-hmm. He used that, and now he's destroying the world.
You know, I got this makeup.
That's the moral of this story.
Yep. One thing about drinking soda pop while doing the podcast is it makes you have to pee.
It's the caffeine. What pop did you drink? Oh yeah, you had to do. What was in the cup?
Just water. My non-Yeti cup. That I got the straw, and so the lid's okay now. It's actually kind of cool drinking through a metal straw because it's cold. It adds to the experience.
How is that colder than a plastic one?
It's metal.
So?
Have you ever touched metal in the sun versus plastic?
Okay.
So, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it has to do with specific heat. It's a factor of how well things.
So you're thinking because that's
heat
metal,
and transfer energy.
But wouldn't the straw hold more, like pull cold from the water more than plastic? Plastic's not as conducive, is it, to transferring of heat and water?
Yeah, and so you wouldn't really feel it when you're drinking it. Like on my lips, it's cold, and then it stays cold going up the straw. But it's the same. So specific heat is like why tinfoil in the oven, you can like touch that most of the time and it's not too hot.
Oh,
but if you were to talk
so it's out of aluminum.
The pan, so it's made out of something else. So it's really good at taking in the temperature.
So it's not as conducive.
So it is very
conductive.
It's very good at transferring energy
or keeping energy from leaving the water.
I'm doing a terrible job at this.
I'm doing a terrible job at my.
I'll keep everyone in a mystery. So,
all right, that might be another.
Ashley, if you're watching this, you can correct me because you're smarter than me.
And if there's anyone else smarter than us watching this, feel free to correct us because we're correctable. And we're out of time. So, thanks for listening to all you who are listening. And I'm Stefan.
Matt Damon.
For daily updates, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Don't miss out on the next Chit Chat That.